Seems that Minnesota is singing a different tune. I don't know what's going on, except I got an idea of what's going on. All right, it's a theory of what's going on, which, as with so many things in life, involves self-preservation. Is that what Tim Walz and Jacob Frey are doing? Trying to survive in a world where Trump and the Insurrection Act can win? I'm Tony Katz. The show is Tony Katz Today. This is the Master Blends 3 from all of us. What we're smoking. Radio show's about to begin. Let's go do this thing. I think it's a question of survival. That's why Tim Walz, the governor of Minnesota, and Jacob Frey, the mayor of Minneapolis, are kind of singing a different tune. Hey, instead of calling ICE, Immigrations and Customs Enforcement, did I call Gestapo? Did I say Gestapo? I meant to say, hey, Gestapo, come here and have some ice cream, you crazy knuckleheads, you're so great. Gestapo, like I would ever call them. Did I call them Nazis? I did not see that coming. I can't believe someone said I called them Nazis. That's ridiculous. Did I say we should make a crowd and surround them? No. That was Maxine Waters talking about Trump's cabinet. Please, can we focus? Tony Katz Today. Good to be here. Good to be with you. Smoking a Master Blends 3 from all of us. Not a sponsor, just like the cigar. The phone number, 833-GOT-TONY, 833-468-8669, and live streaming. YouTube, Twitter X, Facebook, Tony Katz Radio, all the good places. They're speaking a whole different language now. I think very possibly that the statements from President Trump on Truth Social about the Insurrection Act may have them a bit concerned, that maybe the conversations and the comments about calling ICE agents Nazis and supporting those who are attacking ICE agents might be seen as, what is the term? It's from the Latin. That's it. Insurrection-y. And maybe they don't want to be associated with that. So they're putting out all new statements. They've got a whole new tone of voice. Now, if we remember, so we go back into the Wayback Machine here, this right here was Tim Walz just about a month or so ago. No, less.
Well, I said this yesterday. We've never been at war with our federal government. I think in this case that the National Guard is their main mission. They have a dual mission.
That is the governor of Minnesota saying that Minnesota is at war with the federal government. Now, if you say to me, Tony, that's not what he said, okay, let's hear it again.
Well, I said this yesterday. We've never been at war with our federal government.
Are we at war with our federal government? Well, Tony, he didn't say he was at war with the federal government. I'll do it again. I will fight through the sophist nonsense and get to the truth happily.
Well, I said this yesterday. We've never been at war with our federal government.
So he's saying that we're at war with our federal government. He is making that argument. People can say, well, that's not what he said, but we have a word for those people. I just can't use it on radio. There are standards, And the people who make that argument, they don't measure up to the standard. So that was him. Now here's the same guy. Here is Tim Walz right now engaged in a new conversation. And that conversation is a post. I'm making a direct appeal to the president. Let's turn the temperature down. Stop this campaign of retribution. This is not who we are, writes Tim Walz. And an appeal to Minnesotans. I know this is scary. We must speak out loudly, urgently, but also peacefully. We cannot fan the flames of chaos. We cannot fan the flames of chaos. That's what he wants. And he signed that. He put his signature to that. Can we discuss for a minute what a gross statement this is? how completely disconnected this is from trying to turn down the temperature? Just a little bit of a breakdown really quick. Let's turn down the temperature. Stop this campaign of retribution. This is not who we are. What retribution are you talking about? What campaign of retribution? ICE doing its job like it did in the Obama days? Oh, lots of people now posting videos. Lots of people posting videos about how ICE was engaged in deportations and CNN went on ride-alongs and everybody thought it was great. Oh my gosh, look how many people are getting off the streets. And now all of a sudden it's a problem? Oh, and the left wants to scream and yell about this. Oh no, it's not the same. It's all different. It's because of the tactics of the right. It's the tactics of ICE. It's because of the tactics of the left. The left is responsible for the chaos. If you want to argue that ICE should utilize different tactics, that would be a policy conversation and one that I am well more than willing to have. But that isn't the conversation that's being had at all. The argument from the left is ICE shouldn't be able to do this work. You called them the Gestapo. You called them Nazis. We get it. You disagree. But you don't disagree on policy. You disagree because you think illegal immigrants should be allowed to stay in the country. Now, let's assume, for just the sake of this conversation, that there are some out there who don't. That's not your party, kitten. Your party is absolutely the party of illegal immigrants. Your party is the party of illegal immigration. Your party is the party of the violating of the law, and your party is the party of looking the other way when the law is violated. It is. I just made a factual statement, and I can prove this factual statement. While the governor of Minnesota is saying that, this right here, as is posted, a guy I don't know, he is Brad Tabke, Tabke, and he is a Democrat out of Minnesota. He's a representative. He's posting real-time locations of ICE agents. Now, the only reason you're posting real-time locations of ICE agents is because you want ICE to fail and you want illegal immigrants to be able to escape. Thus, my argument holds. As a matter of fact, the left has no response to my argument. The left is proactively working to harm ICE and to harm Immigrations and Customs Enforcement agents, to kill Immigrations and Customs Enforcement agents, whether that's by shooting at them with Dallas or trying to run over them with their cars, which has happened in a series of places. They are the ones who are impeding and leading to this violence. The tactic is not the issue. The issue is the leftist that is utilizing a different tactic. ICE is utilizing the laws to remove illegal immigrants, and the left is trying to get ICE agents killed. That's the difference. And anybody who wants to debate it, 833-GOT-TONY, 833-468-8669. On Twitter X, put a comment on the live stream on YouTube, however you want to do it. There's a difference. Go back to the statement from Tim Walz. Let's continue with this. Hold on a second. The statement reads, let's turn down the temperature. Let's turn the temperature down. Stop this campaign of retribution. This is not who we are. What retribution, again, I ask? There's no retribution. There's only the law being applied, and there's the left trying to stop that law from being applied and engaged in full-on violence. The appeal to Minnesotans reads, I know this is scary, but we must speak out loudly, urgently, but also peacefully. We cannot fan the flames of chaos. That's what he wants. Now, if you want a guy to tone down the rhetoric, do you also call him a chaos agent? Hey, I'd like to borrow $50 from you, you fat loser. Who does that? Who does that? And the answer is Tim Walz, while he pretends to be a nice guy. He wants the chaos. He wants ICE agents shot at. Well, yeah, Tony. See, now that gives him more reason and more ammunition to do what he's doing. He's the president of the United States, and he has the law on his side. And he started doing this before anybody was shooting. Can I help you? Before people were getting run over with their cars, or people attempted to do so. He doesn't need any of this. That's the point. That's the whole point. What an unbelievably ignorant thing for Tim Walz to say here. And then you get the mayor, Jacob Frey. Jacob Frey, who is not enjoying all of the press conferences and the things that his police are saying. He's calling for peace. This is the quote. I'm calling for peace. He's like, what was Hi, Mr. Burns in that Simpsons episode? I bring you peace. I bring you love. What was that episode? Do you remember that, producer Landon? He's like really, he's high and he's walking around in his nightgown around through the woods, and I bring you peace. Someone's got to find that. I could use that clip. I'm calling for peace. Everybody has a role in achieving that peace, and we're going to try and do everything we can to keep it. The same guy who days earlier said, ICE, get the F out of Minneapolis. What's with the change of tone? What's with the change? Is it indeed the threat of the Insurrection Act, where these politicos realize that if they are seen ginning up the crowd, they could be guilty? Maybe that's what it is. But the message hasn't gotten everywhere. This is Minnesota State Senator Aisha Gomez on MS Now. Now, I haven't heard this yet, but cable news. I think it's going to be all right there, producer Landon. But what the heck? Finger on the dumb button, just in case.
What I'm telling my constituents to do is to be with each other. We are out here. We're welcoming kids to school. We're trying to help each other get to work and get food and get the basics of life done. And those of us who are not at risk from this racist and attack on our community, we have to be out in the streets and keeping an eye on each other and making noise when we see an abduction taking place, when we see a violation of civil liberties, which at this point is happening like dozens of times, if not hundreds of times a day. American citizens' civil liberties are being violated. And every time that we see that, we're telling people, make noise, make a crowd, take out your phone, document it.
Make a crowd. She's really quoting Maxine Waters? When you say make a crowd, what do you mean, Representative, State Representative? What do you mean make a crowd? Right? You're quoting the governor about creating videos and recording everybody. Make a crowd. First of all, these aren't civil rights violations. You're talking about people who are in the country illegally. I would argue against that in every way. Speaking of civil rights violations, interesting and something that will upset the left. The shooting will not be investigated by the DOJ for a civil rights violation. And one of the things that was discussed is that, well, this is usually done. And it made me say, why is it usually done? I don't argue that there can't be civil rights violations. Anytime there's a shooting, you have to check it for a civil rights violation. That would seem to me that there are people in a politicized Justice Department who wanted a civil rights violation so they could say, look what we're doing to protect civil rights. Renee Good blocked traffic knowingly. Renee Good refused to listen to a lawful order knowingly. Renee Good backed up and did not stop her vehicle. And if it wasn't for that patch of ice that made her skid out a little bit, she would have driven straight as opposed to starting to turn and then turning her wheel to the right, still hitting a law enforcement officer. People can deny it all they want, but it is what it is, what it is, what it is. It's what happened. There were multiple moments Renee Good could have saved her own life and stopped this from happening. She chose not to. And I don't mind an investigation into the shooting, which is happening from the FBI. Just no civil rights one. Because this violation of civil rights stuff is just what people scream when they want to gin up more protest and more violence. Some people did not get the message from the governor and the mayor. And don't expect these violent actions against ICE to end anytime soon. I'm Tony Katz. This is Tony Katz Today. That could be doing it. You're not getting it right now, right? Okay. Super weird, guys. So producer Landon, is getting a weird kind of ringing from the show. And he's like, yeah, I don't know what that is. I don't know why that's happening. I don't know why it's happening either. Slow down on that. Let's get ourselves set up. How you doing? Well, I don't know what's going on with somebody into bald chicks, but hey, you do you, man. I'm not here to judge. Bald is beautiful. You know what I mean? I think people should like what they like, and I should have zero say in that. None whatsoever. Let's see. Do I have this on? No, I'll get to that in a bit. And no, that's not it. There it is. Very, very good. All right. The left has been telling us that we should be very concerned about global warming. I'm sorry, climate change. I don't even know what they call it today. We should be concerned because what you have is some rising sea levels. According to Al Gore, who invented the internet, so how could he be wrong? The sea levels are going to rise, and there are cities that are going to be underwater, and a lot of children are going to drown. Tony Katz today. Great to be here. And scaring children that they were going to die from global warming is something the left practiced, that they participated in, that they profited from, they trafficked in. Scaring children. You're going to die because of the climate, so you need to be on our side, and you need to narc on your parents, do whatever else. And then they said, hey, Greta Thunberg, you're a possibly unwell child. Why don't we put you in front of every camera in the world, turn you into a celebrity where you don't know how to handle yourself or anything else, totally abuse you and take away your childhood so we can get what we want as adults. That's exactly what happened. Never forget, she's terrible, right? Her support of terrorists, her support of communists. She just needs a place where she's allowed to be, a star. But she was an abused child, and we all watched it happen. It was terrible to witness. All to try and scare you into believing that global warming was real and that you are guilty and that your existence and using air conditioning and using cars and gasoline and gas stove, all of that. And Kamala Harris worked on that, trafficked in that, talked about that, supported that. And then you find, as the reporting from the Washington Free Beacon goes, that she bought an $8 million mansion in Malibu on the ocean. What? You should be afraid to run your air conditioner because the ocean levels are rising. She's buying oceanside property on the left coast, which is interesting because Barack Obama bought oceanside property on the East Coast. These two leaders of leftism that spent their days and nights and weekends scaring kids and crafting policy to hurt business owners and hurt Americans when it comes to energy, and they're buying oceanfront property. You know what a grift is? Because Al Gore, Barack Obama, and Kamala Harris do. Oh, yes, they certainly do, don't they? And after we say that, we seem to leave the conversation, just disgusted. Not leaving the conversation is quite literally what these people with that grift did to kids. And the kids out there who are still afraid. And you say to me, Tony, that's crazy. Sure, except they're kids. So maybe we should think of it differently. And maybe we got to figure out ways to help them through it and make sure these grifters don't get away with it in the court of public opinion. This is Tony Katz today. Very, very good. All right, so Trump had a let me get this here, a rural healthcare roundtable. Interesting. It was actually quite interesting. Some of the stuff that's being worked on and the challenges that are there. I have one of the audio clips from Mike Lawler. I'm going to try and play for you. Coming up in a little bit. What else I have Hakeem Jeffries, which is always fantastic. I'll have three more things, which includes Matthew McConaughey and Peanuts. Actually, two different stories right there. And James Carville is nuts. And now he's just nuts and wrong. Just flat out wrong. Oh, and then there's the Canadians. Oh, I've got that. I've already got that on the list. Good. Good. You want to get your tickets? You should get your tickets. Tickets.tonykatz.com. Trump 1 year later. Red Tie Gala, the highs, the lows, how we win the midterms. The bourbons are set. The food is set. The band is set. The red carpet is set. And you're like, Tony, this is going to be super fancy. Yeah, I went a little fancy with this one. I know not everybody's into fancy, but I think it's worth a shot. Let's go. It's going to be a fantastic presentation. I've got the video clips. I've got the things you've forgotten about. I'm going to connect the dots, and I'm going to lay out a blueprint. I'm going to lay out a blueprint for how we win the midterms. And it really does come down to, do you want to live your way or do you want to live their way? And that's really not even right. That's not perfect either. Do you want to live your way? Or do you want them telling you how to live your way? It's more to the point. Because that is what we're seeing. You know, there's this philosophy that when the left is saying something, they're actually saying it about themselves. Every accusation is an admission. You could look at it in, I guess it's the psychological terminology as projection, transference, those kinds of things. One of the things they scream is that the right is authoritarian. Trump's authoritarian. Let's take a look at authoritarian. Let's take a look at unfeeling. Let's take a look at unprincipled. Not because I say so, but because the data says so, and the history says so, and the video says so. And I've got it all. So I want you to be there. Get your ticket. Trump 1 year later, tickets.tonykatz.com. I want to see you. Come on out. Come be a part of it. It's going to be an incredible night. It's next weekend. Come on out. I'll make the room. Come on out and be a part. Cannot wait. Can't wait to do it. Can't wait to show it to you. Can't wait for you to be there. And thank you, everybody who has subscribed on YouTube. Growing great. This, if we can keep up this pace, it's going to be pretty amazing. Really incredible. We got 30 seconds. All right there, producer Landon. Don't get all snooty. How's it sounding, by the way? All right. Could have just been a bad thing, but I don't know why. There's a screeching sound and it's happening across all the stations. Wait, is it in the building or is it on the air? On the air. Oh, that's the kind of thing that'll make an engineer start drinking. Also, being an engineer in radio. It's kind of something when the left is honest. Now, I think the left would say it's something when the right is honest. If we're people who are listening at all to each other and aware of each other, the left says things about the right says things about the left. Sometimes, yeah, you could say that thing exists on both sides, and sometimes you can't. And sometimes you have to recognize there's a divide for a reason. Tony Katz, good to be with you. Tony Katz today is the name of the show. Call on in, 833-468-8669, 833-GOT-TONY. Go to TonyKatz.com. Live streaming on YouTube, just look for Tony Katz and subscribe. We have disagreements. I think that's okay. But I want to win, and I need them to lose. Because the things we have disagreements on sometimes are simple things. Sometimes they're life-changing things, society-changing things. And I want to win. And I will notice when the left is doing something, and I will say that they're doing something and explain why it's happening. And that it isn't just, well, the right does it too. No. Far from it. Far from it. One of the things that's happening, as of course we are fully aware, is that the left will make any accusation of Donald Trump they possibly can. I don't claim Trump's perfection. I wouldn't claim it in front of the man. But we've already seen the calls to try and hurt and harm the president, threat to democracy, threat to this, threat to that. Of course, as we said on this show years ago, it was very obvious that then MSNBC and CNN were putting out a call for a lone wolf, someone to do harm to the president. It's obvious. It is clear. It's truly unquestionable. But as we have also said on this show, without an ounce of hesitation, that the minute, if the Democrats should win, if the Democratic Party should win in 2026, win the midterms, they will be sworn in on the first Tuesday, or it's not even a Tuesday, it's January 3rd. They'll be sworn in on January 3rd, and Democrats, if they control the House, will impeach Donald John Trump on January 3rd. That's going to happen. Not liking the president is not a reason to impeach the president. High crimes and misdemeanors. Now, the truth is, since impeachment is a political process, you can throw anything you want in there. And we've already seen the Democrats do that twice. But since their entire mind and entire methodology is Trump bad, hate Trump, anything about you do about Trump is worthwhile, they have to impeach. They have a rabid base to mollify. You know this rabid base because they're the ones out there attacking ICE agents. They're the ones, every time they disagree with you, they call you a Nazi. They're the ones who believe in punching Nazis. They're the ones who, at the same time they're saying Antifa doesn't exist, saying, thank goodness that Antifa exists. These people can't be allowed to run a country. They think that boys can be girls. And then tell you to believe all women when they can't tell you what a woman is? They cannot be allowed to run the country. And when it comes to acts of retribution, that's all we're going to see. No actual governing. Hakeem Jeffries has put out a statement. It was a post that involved Stephen Miller on with Will Cain there. So he's on Fox News. And it sounded like this.
To all ICE officers, you have federal immunity in the conduct of your duties. And anybody who lays a hand on you or tries to stop you or tries to obstruct you is committing a felony. You have immunity to perform your duties, and no one, no city official, no state official, no illegal alien, no leftist agitator or domestic insurrectionist can prevent you from fulfilling your legal obligations and duties. And the Department of Justice has made clear that if officials cross that line into obstruction, into criminal conspiracy against the United States or against ICE officers, then they will face justice.
Now, for anybody upset about that, Senator Mark Kelly, Senator Alyssa Slotkin, and a host of Democrats told military officers and military members not to listen to the commander-in-chief. And you know what the left told us? What? It was just them saying, reminding members of the military that you don't have to follow legal orders. That's fine. Golly gee willikers, what's the problem? It's just Stephen Miller letting all these ICE agents know what the rules and what the law is. I'm sorry, I don't see the issue. I don't see the problem. Do you see the problem? Because I don't see the problem at all. Well, Hakeem Jeffries has a problem with this. Hakeem Jeffries has an absolutely gigantic problem with all of this. And he goes to the Twitter X there, to the social medias. You know the social medias. And he writes, reminder to all members of the Trump administration. There's a good write-up about this over at redstate.com. Reminder to all members of the Trump administration. The incitement and engagement in state violence against the American people is a serious crime. Donald Trump will leave office long before the 5-year statute of limitation expires. You are hereby put on notice. Oh, you got to love the honesty. You got to love it. You got to adore it. Hakeem Jeffries is letting you know what it is you already knew. Hakeem Jeffries is letting you know that what we have been discussing on this show for months was 100% accurate. And once again, guys, we are ahead of the curve. When Democrats, if Democrats get power again and Trump is in office, they will, on day one, on hour one, impeach. And if they control the Senate, it's over. When Democrats do it, why are you paying attention? When Republicans do it, why aren't you paying attention? That's their methodology. That's their philosophy. That's their belief system. This is Hakeem Jeffries. Saying that what Stephen Miller said is what? Did he say anything false? Is he saying anything false whatsoever? No, he's not. No, he is not. But this is letting you know which way it's going. How it's going to play out. If Democrats win, they impeach. Is that reason enough to keep Republicans from staying in power, or meaning voting for them? Let's say you're unhappy with how things are going on. Do you now change your vote because of this, or let's go the other way? Does it inspire people to vote? Because if they don't vote for Republicans, they have to sit through another impeachment. So now we're placing a bet on whether or not the American people are interested in sitting through this one more time. We don't live in a vacuum, guys. We're political junkies. And there are definitely people listening who are just, politically curious, right? And then there are people who are just like, they just want to, they hate me and they want to hear what I'm saying next. And then there are people who are just passing by and, hey, welcome to the show. I'm Tony Katz. Good to be with you. How you doing? How's your mother? There are people who are going to look at this and say, they're going to impeach him again? Can we just not? Question is how many of those people? Yes, there are people who are going to do that. The question is how many of those people? Is there a backlash that is possible to this kind of talk? I don't know right now. I have no idea. But you should know. Hakeem Jeffries has let you know. You got to appreciate the honesty. Running the country is not job one. Healthcare is not job one. Lowering the cost of insurance is not job one. The American people's safety and security regarding foreign threats is not job one. The border is not job one. None of these things are job one. Impeachment is, which has been their same job one since January 20th, 2017. Vote accordingly. The election is November 3rd. 2026. I'm Tony Katz. This is Tony Katz Today. Welcome back, Tony Katz. Tony Katz today. So a couple of you were putting in comments about what's being heard on the radio side locally. For me, I do not know what that is or why it's happening. Some whistling or cracking. I don't know. The streams are fine. Of course, you're fine here. So I'm not sure what that is or why that is. Also not hearing it from any of the syndicated stations. So I think it's a local issue to Indianapolis and could specifically be in certain areas. It's possible, I guess. So we're on it. We're looking at it. We're paying attention to it. We got the boys in the lab trying to work that out. There we go. So yeah, so it's super. It's always frustrating when that happens when you've got these kind of technological issues. Everything here, as I said, going just dreamy. And the verdict is in. The new studio look works. This works. I got to admit, it's weird. And I didn't know that I was a little OCD. My desk is not flush to the wall, right? Because you got to have the camera behind it. And my desk does this. So I'm kind of like in the corner. And so in order for where the camera is and the angle, the desk is not only off the wall, but it's a touch askew every day. It drives me a little crazy. Absolutely nuts. But this is working. I really thought that the door, wait, where's the door? I thought the door might look weird. I thought that might be an awkward look. Like, should I get it painted or should I put a wrap on it or something? Like, you tell me, what should I do with the door? Because like, I think the door is a great spot for an advertising message, you know? Buy Campbell's soup. I don't know. I don't know what it'll be. But like something should happen with the door. I can paint like the header there and everything else and do the thing. So like that's the only thing I think is a little awkward in here. Everything else seems to be working great. No, Crowder's studio is a truer studio than this with the control room and everything else. I have me. No, I'm not doing a Gadsden flag. I love the flag. Not my style. All right, I gotta get back to the show here. Here we go. So Maria Machado, the Venezuelan dissident who has won the Nobel Prize for a pushback against Nicolas Maduro, she held a press conference today and she was mobbed, swarmed. This just a day after she presented Donald Trump with the Nobel Peace Prize. And you're like, Trump did not win the Nobel Peace Prize. That is absolutely correct. Trump did not win the Nobel Peace Prize. Machado did. And what Machado did is say, you've been a great partner in peace and you deserve this. And gave him the medal. And one of the things that she stated was, it was the French revolutionary who assisted the U.S., the Marquis de Lafayette, who's an incredible story, was also friendly with Bolivar, and who created the Venezuelan country, and presented him, according to Machado, with a medal that showed the face of George Washington. So to Machado, this was a return of the favor and of the gift, being able to bring you a medal like Lafayette, who played such an important role in the American Revolution, did to Bolivar. That's all right. That's cool. That's cool. That's knowing a little something about your history. And in this plaque, right, really, it's a large frame thing where the medal is that she gave him. It reads, "In gratitude for your extraordinary leadership in promoting peace through strength, advancing diplomacy, and defending liberty and prosperity. Presented as a personal symbol of gratitude on behalf of the Venezuelan people in recognition of President Trump's principled and decisive action to secure a free Venezuela. The courage of America and its president, Donald J. Trump, will never be forgotten by the Venezuelan people." I ain't gonna lie. That's wicked smart. Tony, she's bribing the president. Yeah, she is. In the only way she possibly could. So you're okay with bribes? Oh, no. No, please don't get me wrong. She has an objective. And by the way, I've got more respect for her than I imagined. She wants a free Venezuela. She wins the Nobel Prize and says, what am I supposed to do with this? Maduro is still in charge. But Trump captures Maduro, and she realizes, well, we still have a Maduro regime in charge. I need him to finish the job so my people can be free, because that's more important to me than a freaking medal. This thing doesn't matter. My life matters. This piece of paper doesn't matter. The people of Venezuela matter. What can I do to get them free, to get me free, to have the better tomorrow? What can I do to secure a future? Here you go, Don. Can you help me out? It isn't going to take much more. Just need a little bit of help to finish this regime and to have a better tomorrow. You in or you out? Here you go. Say what you will about Trump's ego, like it, don't like it, and I can appreciate that you don't. There are parts of it that drive me nuts. Wanting the Kennedy Center named after you, super weird. What Machado has done here, she's exceptional. And as far as bribes go, this is the one that's going to touch Trump. I'm Tony Katz. People are going to get at me about bribe. But would begging have worked better as a terminology? It is what it is. This was smart. Was. All right, so we are in the radio break right now. So what we will do is we will take the break ourselves, kick back, relax, smoke them if you got them. Right? Very important that you do such a thing. Right. So let's say, dude. Oh, by the way, Trucks and Guitars loves me and hates me. He's a great commenter, and we disagree about Trump in terms of attitude often. Not as much about policy, more about presentation. I would say that that's right. Alliances are made in all sorts of ways, and so I agree with you. They're all alliances are predicated on a quid pro quo. Even if it's not discussed, what are you going to provide for me afterwards? We each have to provide something to each other. Otherwise, what's the point? What is the relationship? So yes, this is the plan. But in order for it to work, the whole regime has to go. That means Delcy Rodriguez and the rest. It can't go on like this. And maybe that's going to take some time. I have a conversation with Steve Yates from Heritage that you're going to want to hear. Steve Yates is super bright. And we get into that. But this just in, I received a text from Verizon. As you know, they had the the whole fakakta thing went down. I was down for hours. I had no phone service. So they just texted me and they said, valued Verizon customer. That's me. We let you down this week. For that, we are truly sorry. We have fired 4,000 people and shot 12. Holy crap. Well, they didn't say that. No one got fired. We would like to extend you a $20 account credit that can be easily redeemed via the link below. On average, this covers multiple days of service. This credit isn't to make up for what happened, but it's a way of acknowledging your time and showing that this matters to us. If you're still having trouble connecting, please restart your vehicle, your device, power down and power back on. And then here's how you redeem the credit. Can I write back? Make it 30 and you've got a deal. That's what I wrote back. So I don't know. If I learned anything from Trump, everything's a negotiation. So I'll see if I get a better deal. So smoke them if you got them. Everybody relax, take it easy. This person here wants to mess up YouTube and make all YouTubers lose all their subscribers. Well, I just think that I'm going to lose you right now. Bye, Felicia. Gone. Weird people in the comments. Kick back, relax, keep it right here, guys. Be back in just a few. Welcome back, everybody. Tony Katz today. Getting myself set and situated. What is next? There's nothing. I was kind of expecting, would I see some Trump conversation today? Would I see him speaking? He did the rural roundtable, which I do want to get to because I thought it was quite interesting. But James Carville's nuts. Absolutely. So I knew it. Trump is doing something. Hold on a second. Let me see if I can find it. I thought Trump was taking questions right now. He is. There it is.
Canceled the hanging of over 800 people. They were going to hang over 800 people yesterday, and I greatly respect the fact that they canceled that.
Mr. President, Prime Minister Carney is in China. Prime Minister Carney is in China. How do you see the deals Canada and China have just signed, trade deals between the two partners?
Well, that's okay. That's what he should be doing. I mean, it's a good thing for him to sign a trade deal. If you can get a deal with China, you should do that.
Election in Venezuela. Did Arab and Israeli officials convince you to not strike Iran?
Nobody convinced me. I convinced myself. You had yesterday scheduled over 800 hangings. They didn't hang anyone. They canceled the hangings. That had a big impact.
President Trump answering questions outside the White House. Just walking out saying, hey, how y'all doing? Tony Katz today. Good to be with
Well,
you.
she offered
Let's
it
back
to me. I
to
thought it was
Q&A.
very
A
nice.
lot
She
of
said,
stuff.
you've ended 8 wars, and nobody deserves this prize more than in history than you do. And I thought it was a very nice gesture. And by the way, I think she's a very fine woman, and we'll be talking again. Say it.
What's the trigger for the Insurrection Act in Minnesota? What are you waiting for?
Well, the Insurrection Act, which has been used by 48% of the presidents as of this moment, the Insurrection Act also, if you look at it, I believe it was Bush, the elder Bush, he used it, I think, 28 times. It's been used a lot. And if I needed it, I'd use it. I don't think there's any reason right now to use it. But if I needed it, I'd use it. It's very powerful.
Why align with Delcy Rodriguez and the remnants of the Maduro regime and not with Machado, who has the support of the Venezuelan people?
Well, if you ever remember a place called Iraq where everybody was fired, every single person, the police, the generals, everybody was fired, and they ended up being ISIS. Instead of just getting down to business, they ended up being ISIS. So I remember that. But I'll tell you, I had a great meeting yesterday by a person who
moving him. The conversations about regime, and I have this conversation coming up in a little bit with Stephen Yates. Why is Delcy Rodriguez, who's Maduro's number 2, still there? Why is the Maduro regime still there? And Trump is letting you know point blank, because I have seen what has happened in history. When you go and you take out everybody, you must have a plan. It's frustrating. I'm amongst the people who are frustrated, but he's saying you have to have a plan. Of course, conversations about the Insurrection Act being utilized in Minneapolis to put down the attacks on ICE and others. The president now making his way to Marine One, heading himself to, I don't know, he was, as I know it, heading down to Florida because he is scheduled to be at the he's going to be at the national championship. He's going to be there for Miami versus the world-class, absolutely spectacular, how could you beat them? You got to join them, Indiana Hoosiers. We go now to producer Landon to see if I homered hard enough for that. How'd I do? Oh, I got to do a hoo. I don't know if I've got that skill set, because it's the Hoosiers, so it's Hoosiers, and that's how I can do that part. Oh, I can do the Hoosiers part just great. It's the who, because all I can think of is Margot Robbie. What are you, a blanket owl? Like, that's all I can. That is. Oh yeah. Anytime you can bring up Margot Robbie, you should bring up Margot Robbie. That's one of my fine pieces of advice right there. So the president just answering a couple of questions, and we were discussing earlier how Machado, her presser today, or answering questions, how she dealt with Trump yesterday, absolutely effective as can be. And we should be discussing what is effective and what isn't effective, what works and what doesn't. Because I have been, as you know, gearing up for the midterms, and I've been talking about the fact, hey, don't forget, Election Day is November 3rd, 2026. For months, I've got my this event that I'm doing next week at downtown Indianapolis. Trump 1 year later, Red Tie Gala, the highs, the lows, how we win the midterms. It's going to be an amazing event. We can make room. Tickets.tonykatz.com. I want to see as many people there as possible. Tickets.tonykatz.com. You're going to be there. Bourbons we're going to be tasting. 3 different kinds of bourbons to try, and you also get drink tickets, and there's food all over the place. There's a live band. It's going to be very cool. Relax, chill, fun night. You're going to laugh. I've been working on this for months. Cannot wait to present it. Tickets.tonykatz.com. Come on out. Come on down. I want to see you there. I really do. It's going to be fantastic. And one of the things that I am focusing on is this blueprint for how to win the midterms. What happened in the last year, the highs and the lows, the blunders, and some people are going to get angry with me, but I'm talking about how we win, right? All of it. How we engage all of it to create a blueprint to victory. Well, I come across this madness from James Carville. Now, I am not a Carville guy. And I read this and I said, he is so far out of his head, it's hard to comprehend. But if he thinks that this is the Democrats' blueprint, he is betting that the Democrats can be normal. I'm going to walk you through this. If this is what James Carville, who is still somehow a voice amongst Democrats, is banking on, the Democrats are in much worse shape than I thought. That story is coming up. Keep it here. I'm Tony Katz, and this is Tony Katz Today. I can't even describe what just happened, but I had to park my car down the street. I swear to God, I'm winded. I'm out. Whew. That was nuts. All right, so I'm going to get into this James Carville story. It's impossible that he believes this, but it tells a great story of where the Democrats are. And I put forth to you that I think that their messaging is rather thin. And so this is not whether you agree with my politics. This is about whether or not you agree with the observation. We'll get into it. I have never, ever asked anyone to agree with my politics. Certainly, I've never forced it. I may have asked it. But it's okay if you disagree with me. You got to just disagree rationally. You can't disagree with emotion. You can't say to me, if I bring up a subject, well, what about the children? I'm sorry, that's pablum. That's noise. You're dismissed. It's a silly thing to say. Tony Katz Today. Good to be here. Good to be with you. What's the matter? You don't want clean air and clean water? oh my God, you should not be allowed to operate heavy machinery. It's that kind of ridiculousness that I want no part of. So this about James Carville is not about whether you agree with me politically. This is a conversation about being a political observer. Does this make sense to you? Is this a rational, cogent argument? James Carville is the longtime Democratic strategist. James Carville became, if you will, famous to an extent amongst political circles, household name. Maybe it was earlier than Bill Clinton, but I'm going to say it was Bill Clinton, and it's the economy, stupid. What was the messaging? What was the targeting? What was the focus? It's the economy. It's always the economy. That's all. So that's what he focused on. And James Carville, who is married to a Republican strategist, which is a very weird relationship, but hey, who am I to judge? Go live your lives and go be happy. He has been this voice for leftism. And he, every now and again, will engage a rational argument, and that will be countered by absolute madness, trying to attract the most liberal elements to his side. He is the guy who has said things like, listen, defund the police is ridiculous, and then has also said Trump has syphilis. No, I cannot make that up. I'm not making it up. I would have no way of making it up. It's who he is. It's what he said. And yeah, I do not know if James Carville has syphilis or not. I'm not a doctor. I have looked at him though. I have seen his face, and whatever that disease is, I'm just glad I don't have it. What? He can just say things and no one else can say things? No. Maybe be nicer, James. That's it. James Carville is on his podcast, and he is saying that in order to win the midterms, there are two subjects that have to be avoided. And he starts by saying that we are not as disciplined as they are. And I think that they know their crap is unpopular. So they got to be more disciplined in how they portray things. I would take huge umbrage with that statement from Carville. The idea that Republicans are, what's the word I'm looking for? Disciplined? Oh my gosh. That is a compliment, but that's also not true. I think that's a false narrative right there. If he really believes that, exactly how messed up is the Democratic Party, because we often discuss when it comes to being elected, they are in lockstep and a goose step with each other. There is no variation at all. Republicans, you put 5 Republicans in a room, they can't figure out where to go to lunch. And 4 of them are running for president. That is such a good joke. How dare you? Honest, really? Nothing? My gosh. But their crap is so unpopular. I would ask what you're referring to. What is unpopular? The capture of Maduro is not unpopular. The securing of the border is not unpopular. The fact that there is no plan to get rid of Obamacare, well, that's what they just put out. Right? The great healthcare plan. I think that's what they're calling it. I haven't dug in yet. I haven't read yet the full thing. But they're now talking on the political right about healthcare, about providing better, about engaging in a lot of places. I'll share with you some of the things that were said at a roundtable today about rural healthcare. Trump is in lowering the prescription drug costs. If you want to take an Ozempic type drug, and certainly other things that are going to happen. I don't even like the way he's doing it. But you can't deny that he's doing it, that he's engaged in this conversation about healthcare. So I don't know what he says is unpopular. ICE? No. That is not true. Although I could see America saying, man, couldn't this go easier? Couldn't this be more focused? Like, I could see that. That's different than unpopular. And he says the two subjects that we have to stop talking about, the Democrats, he says, have to stop talking about, is they have to stop talking about defunding law enforcement agencies, and they have to stop talking about transgender athletes competing in women's sports. James, are you stupid? You think James, Jimmy, Jimbo, Jim Barbarino, Jim. Can I call you Jim? James. You think you can get the Democratic Party to stop talking about defunding law enforcement? There is a whole new crop of Democrats that are talking about defunding ICE right now. They are aggressively discussing the ideas that they should be shutting down ICE, defunding this. This was just last week.
Funding, if it doesn't restrain ICE.
I think Democrats need to use every tool that we have, including funding mechanisms, to rein in what's happening right now with ICE across this country.
That was last week, Jimbo. You can't get them to stop talking about this. This is the policy. Defunding the police, getting rid of police, is the policy of the progressive and communist left that your party has become. You may not like it. You may know it's political suicide, but no one's listening to you, Jimmy Boo. They left you behind. You're the old man now, Jim, and you aren't staying current. You aren't staying with it. This is what they want. And you think hearing these cases in front of the Supreme Court is going to take this off the table? He actually said those words. I said, what the hell is wrong with this guy? He actually said right here, but I think the Supreme Court is probably going to rule on this trans athlete issue, which will probably take it off the table a little bit more than it was. No, that's just the opposite of what's going to happen. They just heard the cases this week regarding Idaho and West Virginia. And so we're clear. The left got walloped. The left got their butts handed to them. They got ripped apart. They did. The lawyers looked ridiculous. The lawyers wouldn't bring a definition of what a woman is. They refused to define it, but they think a man can be a woman and play in women's sports. They won't define what a woman is, but the other part they want. They got ripped asunder. The Solicitor General from West Virginia, in a spectacular statement of 2 minutes and 47 seconds, I believe, that I heard it, said, if this is the case, that men can say they're women, then we are not in a society that thinks that we have to separate out men from women. And if that's the case, what's the point of Title IX? Title IX exists to create a space for women in sports. Talk about some other things. It was built for that purpose. What this case is saying is that there are no women. There's no need for women. This is my paraphrase, of course. And therefore, there's no need for Title IX. Is this what the court wants to rule on? When this case comes to fruition and the decision comes out in the summer sometimes, I don't know if it'll be June or July, and the vote is 7-2, I think Kagan could go. But Sotomayor and Ketanji Brown Jackson. They'll stay, and Ketanji Brown Jackson will write some absolutely maddening dissent that won't make any sense whatsoever. The subject's going to come back in full. Look what Trump's Supreme Court has done. Look how Trump's Supreme Court is trying to destroy children and lead children to suicide. Look at how Trump's Supreme Court doesn't recognize these people are people and human beings. If you are understanding of what Marxism wants to do and the eradication of norms, you don't give this up. You triple down. Maybe that's the problem, James. You don't understand what your party is all about, what your party's all about. You don't understand what your party is doing. You don't understand what the plan is, man. You want to win. They want to destroy the country. Do you not get it? Do you really not get that that's the case? How many more times and in how many more ways do they have to show you? They don't want police on the streets. They want lawlessness. They attack ICE because they want illegal immigrants to remain. And they want women to be erased. They want to be able to say there are no standards and allow Western civilization to fall. They're not going to stop talking about these two things. This is who they are. This is Tony Katz today. Hold on. This guy wants me to take my meds. I'm sorry if being right is so problematic to you. I'm sorry if you can't accept reality. And you may call me a clown, but your mom loves it when I play dress up. Landon, you're funny. Just see, that's not a comment. That's just nonsense that they're throwing out there. Nonsense. Hold on a second. Guys, I'll be right back. What a freaking day. So sorry. Been coordinating a delivery. It's nothing. It's nothing that's cool or anything else. It is my father's old office. My father passed away in 24, and everything was still down in Florida, and it wasn't supposed to be here for another couple of hours. And I just had to help a guy push this pallet of boxes up the driveway. So, I don't know. I mean, that's just what I did. So, I mean, it's just the way it went. So I've got three more things, three more stories that you should be aware of that aren't getting much talk. But again, they do indeed matter. Tony Katz, great to be with you. Tony Katz today, live streaming on YouTube if you want to check that out. We have glorious people in the chat room and then some really weird trolls. Honestly, it's a show in and of itself. Let's start with the Canadians and making a deal as they are with the Chinese. Mark Carney, the prime minister, was out there saying, this is good that we're creating this deal and really being a part of the new world order. What in the world? Why would you? What are you trying to say there, Mr. Carney? What's Canada's plan?
The CBC. I know that you're talking about China offering stability. There are still, of course, though, concerns in this country about human rights,
Yes.
about freedom of expression. I'm wondering where those fit into your calculations. Are these things that Canada just can't afford to think about because we've got to diversify our markets?
No, we fundamentally stand up for human rights. We stand up for democracy, territorial integrity, rights to self-determination. We take the world as it is, not as we wish it to be.
That might be the most honest and true thing I think the man may have said. You got to take the world the way it is, not the way you wish it would be. I often argue that this is the difference, almost definitionally, between the conservative and the liberal. The conservative sees the world the way it is and tries to work to make changes to it. The liberal sees the world that they want and tries to bend everybody to their will. So yes, you will have to work with China. When he talks about territorial disputes, he's talking about Taiwan. When you talk about human rights abuses, you're talking about all the things that LeBron James said we're not allowed to talk about because look how much the NBA pays me and we want to create more deals in China with the NBA. I mean, that's what happened. Daryl Morey said he stood with the Hong Kongers. And guys like LeBron James said, you need to educate yourself. Like, didn't Daryl Morey go to like MIT? Like, isn't he like a bright cat? I mean, that's just, what an awful thing to say. Wasn't LeBron like carrying a book around with him to pretend to be reading it and he wasn't reading it? Hey, basketball IQ off the charts. Court vision like very few in history. As a person, that moment was a bad moment. Indeed, was a bad moment. So the recognition of, yeah, we know that China's a bad group of people, but we got to work with them. That's true. And if you heard the presser that Trump had before he got on Marine One, the helicopter, Trump said exactly the right thing there, which is to say, hey, if here's Mark Carney making a deal with the Chinese, what do you think? Well, he's supposed to make a deal with the Chinese. He's supposed to create deals for his country. I mean, Why would anybody question such a thing? Of course, this is what he's supposed to do. He's the leader of a nation. Now, that's what I would say too. As a matter of practicality, I would be taking a look at what that relationship means. Because if some level of new world order means that China wants to get or gets a foothold in Canada itself, well, then the answer is no. Because the Monroe Doctrine theory, the Trump doctrine, the Monroe Doctrine, going back to President James Monroe, and the idea of thwarting European influence in the Western Hemisphere. Well, our job is to thwart Russian and Chinese influence in the Western Hemisphere. You can't have it. And that includes Canada. Well, it's a sovereign nation. It creates a threat to us. They ain't so sovereign. Or maybe I should say it differently, because of course they're sovereign. I don't give a damn about their sovereignty. The Chinese can't have military bases in Canada. I don't think the Chinese should be allowed to own land in the United States. And of course, I'm talking about the Communist Party. I'm not talking about people who are Chinese. That's weird. The answer is no. 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 And if people want to fight about it, if the Chinese want to fight about it, I say, okay, Xi Jinping, let's fight about it. But it's going to be one hell of a fight. And the ramifications are going to last for years. But okay, because this is the moment. My God, Tony wants to get into World War III. I want it understood that China's trying to win World War III without firing a shot. And they believe they can economically either bankrupt or hold hostage anybody they choose to get their desire. That's it. In the chat, someone saying they already do own land. What is your problem, mister? Are you dumb? Did you not just hear me? They shouldn't be allowed to own the land. I would take the land. We have a national security issue when the communist Chinese own the land. So, Tony, you're in favor of expropriation? Oh, gosh, no. I am in favor of not allowing a country that is our enemy to have a foothold in the United States or own land near military bases or food processing capabilities or anything else. The answer is no. We say no. And we didn't institute this policy early enough. We need to institute this policy right now. Immediately, if not sooner. And we are fools if we don't. And that policy extends to Canada. It extends throughout North America. What Trump has said is that it extends to the Western Hemisphere. And that is the move that is being made regarding Maduro. And maybe, based on some hints that I think we've been getting, the regime will come next. That would be great. I, for one, would be quite appreciative of seeing that happen. Then we have the part two, which is what's going on in Iran. We spoke this week about the fact that if you cannot break the IRGC, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, you're not going to see the Ayatollah run, and you're not going to see a free Iranian people. I am saying that if the president, after telling protesters help is on its way, does not see this through, his legacy is hurt, possibly gone. Allies allegedly begged him not to engage a hit on Iran. And that could be for the same reason that there was no furthering of the regime change in Venezuela. One must have a plan in order to do so. That if you leave power vacuums get filled. So Trump brought up in the press conference, he brought up Iraq. I think the better conversation would be to bring up Libya. We have to get Muammar Gaddafi. Gaddafi has to go. Gaddafi has to go. And I did not oppose the elimination of Muammar Gaddafi, the removal of Muammar Gaddafi. What do you replace it with? What is the scientific phrase, right? Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. You got rid of him. Now who takes his place? And what happened? The Muslim Brotherhood happened. Things got worse. You can't just do X and then walk. A plan is necessary. And that could have very well been the reason. Right? Even if you had hit Iran in these 5 or 6 places, as the Wall Street Journal writes, Trump was told attacking Iran wouldn't guarantee collapse of the regime. I take that, regardless of the article, I take that to mean that the IRGC, the Revolutionary Guard Corps, the people who are in the streets, the people who are engaged in the hangings, the reason the New York Post wrote a story, Ronnie Reyes reporting that the reason that the slaughter has stopped in Iran is because maybe the protesters aren't out in force as much because the IRGC is shooting anybody who leaves their home. The tanks were out. The tanks are everywhere. Machine gun wielding security forces flooding the streets. The only way that the Iranian people become free is if the IRGC is broken. They are forced to scatter. The money has to disappear. They want the power. They want the cash, so they stay. They're not going to go run and be like, finally, a free Iran. They've got the best deal in town, and they're not running from it. They have to be broken. How does that happen? By hitting military bases? Maybe not. Maybe not indeed. And then, because every now and again you need a good Matthew McConaughey reference, he trademarked, all right, all right, all right. I mean, you could do the impression. All right, all right, all right. Now, see, that's not it. All right, all right. No, that's not it. I'll work on it. Matthew McConaughey was granted 8 trademarks by the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office to protect his likeness from unauthorized use by AI. This is where the battle is. If you go back and take a look at that SAG-AFTRA strike, SAG-AFTRA, come on, Tony. That strike was about recognizing that AI is coming for every one of those actors' jobs. It's coming for the writers' jobs. It will write the script. You'll put in the ideas. You'll be able to figure out the prompts. You'll be able to massage it, and it will write the script. And you will be able to create live action via AI and not have to pay the actors. That's coming. It's already started. And of course, these groups know it. And then worse, everything that's out there is being fed into these AI engines to be able to help them to get better at what they do. And so since that's happening, they're saying, well, we're not getting paid for this. And you're using our content to be able to now feed your financial opportunity. Where's our piece of it? I'm hugely in favor of this, by the way. And because I'm a guy who's got a lot of content out there. Might not be as popular as theirs, but it's still mine. Where's my piece? So McConaughey is saying, I need to protect me, and won the battle to be able to copyright all right, all right, all right, which is all right, all right, all right. See, that one wasn't bad. I could do better, though. I can do better. That was 3 more things right there. Follow me on Twitter X at Tony Katz. And of course, YouTube, Tony Katz. Just find it right now. I'm Tony Katz. This is Tony Katz Today. Guys, good to be with you. Welcome back. I think I'm done running. Everything's in. It's weird. I got to admit. So I got this delivery today, and it's my father's office. Every file that I hadn't grabbed, and Lord only knows what was in some of them, and it's kind of weird to see the business come off a truck, right? So it's a little, it's interesting to see that's everything that he had worked on in this world. My father owned a credit card processing business, which I then took over. Yeah, in addition to this show, in addition to the morning show, in addition to Eat, Drink, Smoke, I own a credit card processing company. So it's not the issuing side. Those are cards. I do what's known as the acquiring side, which is you own a business, you want to accept credit card processing. I set that up. And I am as forceful about the issues with Visa, MasterCard as anybody else out there. Those people are amongst the absolute worst. Just horrifying. How people get treated, how they think they can be involved in the businesses of others, how they want to manipulate. It's drives me nuts. I want to see changes. I want to see great changes, wholesale changes. But yeah, it's just weird to see. It's very weird. To just see, it's like it's just sitting on a pallet now in my garage. It's like that's just odd. Anyway, as for who's peeking in the room, no one's peeking in the room. There it is. But comments like that will freak me out all day. Thank you. Totally freak me out. Are you kidding? Why not just say you left spiders in my bed? Good God. Oh, no. Ilhan Omar is having a press conference about ICE.
He delusionally believes he won our state 3 times, even though the numbers show he incredibly lost our state all of those 3 times. He believes he is wronged by the fact that our governor ran as vice president on the last ticket. He believes that it is not okay for our state to so warmly welcome immigrants and help them make a home here and eventually send one to Congress. So his response has been to send a paramilitary force to occupy, terrorize, disappear, and kidnap residents here in Minnesota.
James Carville, I rest my case. Tony Katz today. Good to be here. Was I or was I not just talking about how James Carville, the Democratic strategist, says that if Democrats want to win, they have to stop talking about defunding law enforcement and they have to stop talking about transgenderism. What about attacking law enforcement? Calling ICE paramilitary, that's going to get you a victory? That isn't how Americans see it. And this is Ilhan Omar, the congresswoman, well, doing what she does.
All agents. And that has resulted in an American citizen being shot in the face, American citizens being put in a cell designated for American citizens at an ICE facility, people being held for 3-4 hours without notification to their family, to their lawyers, to their members of Congress, and being disappeared somewhere in this country.
She's talking about Renee Good, who was blocking traffic, did not listen to law enforcement, and hit an officer. Yes, they fired. But there's no room for an honest conversation. There's only room for agitation. So when we go back to the governor, Tim Walz, and the mayor, Jacob Frey, saying, hey, we need to lower the temperature, lower the rhetoric, here is Ilhan Omar doing nothing of the sort. And when she's done here, she's going to go home and count her $30 million. She's worth $30 million. How'd that happen? Huh. That is a good question. How did that happen? More to get to. This is Tony Katz today. They're going to keep doing this. They're going to keep pushing this madness. All the best. All the best to you in trying to make this one, making this idea stick, thinking that you're going to get Americans on this and lying about what took place. Good Lord. Good Lord. Guys, I appreciate you like you wouldn't believe. I want you to be there next Saturday. Trump 1 year later. The bourbon is going to flow. The food, the music. It's going to be so great. It's going to be such a chill party. It's going to be very cool. My presentation, I can't wait to share with you. You'll laugh. You'll think. You might even get angry with me. But you will say, what a time. You're going to have a great time. Tickets.tonykatz.com. Get your tickets. Make it happen right now. And don't forget to subscribe right there on YouTube. YouTube.com, Tony Katz. Do that immediately, if not sooner. I appreciate you guys being here. I want you to have a fantastic, fantastic weekend. And everyone's back at it on Monday. All right? You guys take care.